This is one I think a lot of people know, but I wanted to include it because it's very much worth reviewing, is the sunk cost fallacy. So this is most commonly explained with poker, and because poker players need to learn this. But the sunk cost fallacy is basically, and it's different than the effort justification, kind of in a nuanced way. The sunk cost fallacy is when we look at a decision we need to make now, like this moment, getting attached to the past decisions we've made and thinking of where we were at when we started. So, and it, like the example in poker, the way it works in Texas Hold'em poker, you get 2 cards, right? And the idea is with your 2 cards plus a total of 5 cards that will be in the collective, you make the best hand you can of 5 cards total, right? You pick 3 from that and yours and make a hand. And the first time you bet, you only see your 2 cards. So let's say you get 2 kings. You probably will win by statistics at that point. So you would put in a big bet. Then the 3 cards come down. And if the 3 cards are like 5, 6, and 7, all hearts, well, now you may not have the best hand. And if the next card comes down and it's 8, whatever, it goes in the line. So now you have 4 cards in a straight, all hearts. Now, if anyone at that table has a heart, they will have a flush, which will beat your 2 kings. And if anyone at the table has a card on either end of those 4 in a row, they will have a straight, which will beat your 2 kings. So at that point, your hand is not a good hand. Like the odds of you winning is very low. But an amateur player is like, no, but I have pocket kings. Like I was going to win and I already bet. And it's like, yes, but the circumstances have changed, right? And you can even think, you could even think of this, with like politics. Now there's different peace deals trying to be figured out and all these things. And I think part of it is people have a huge, justifiably so, of course, but we get in these sunk cost things, right? Of like everything that's went into something. And sometimes you have to look like, what are the circumstances today? And that's what you're supposed to do to defeat the sunk cost fallacy, is you say, the decision I made before may have been the right decision then, but the circumstances have changed. So this happens like with finances when people invest. They buy a stock, and when they're buying it, it seemed really good. Like there were reasons they thought, hey, this is a good stock to buy. There's good reasons to have it. And then circumstances change, right? Maybe they buy an AI stock and then the government bans AI. So it's like, now it's not a good stock. But people won't want to sell it when it's went down because they think they're hung up on their past decision, right? So this is that, whether it's being in a relationship for a period of time or in a certain career, like when it comes to getting stuck in either of those, there's probably dozens of biases that actually add up. But with sunk cost, is part of it is sitting back and thinking like, would I date this person from scratch? Yeah, we met, when we were 26, and at that point it clicked. But when we were 26, we were both backpackers in Thailand, and now like he wants to go and settle down and get a white picket fence, and I want to do, travel the world painting. Well, would you meet, if you met them new and they said, hey, I want to settle down and like get married and have kids, you probably wouldn't date them, right? And so it's not to say you shouldn't in some ways value your past and what it means to build a relationship, right? There's a lot there, but to also have that as part of your decision making. The same thing with a career, right? Is it's thinking, okay, now that I know what I know about this career path, because when you're 18 and you're picking your major and you're picking your job at 22, you don't have a clue, right? So if by the time you're 30, you realize like, whatever it is, right? Maybe you really wanted to work in tech and you realize that all these big companies are just full of BS with everything they say about wanting to better the world. And they're just like big tobacco companies, maybe worse. And you're like, huh. So when you were 20, you were like, yeah, you know, these startups, they care about their employees and they have foosball tables and like, you know, they want to make the world a friendlier place. And Google says, don't be evil and whatever. And then now you've been in them and you've been in the meetings and you realize like, oh yeah, they're just about making money and power. And now you know that. Would you have chosen that job at the beginning? Probably not, right? So not just because you've chosen it in the past, doing your best to reset and just ask yourself, today, would I do the same thing? And then if the answer is no, that's at least like a light bulb where you have to explore it a lot more. So if you've made it this far to the end, if you have a like personal story about it, how it's affected you or anything like that, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I do read every comment and usually reply as well. If I don't reply, it's often because I just have nothing to add or you've shared like a great long story and, you know, I'll just give it a like. So would love to hear your comments below and catch you in the next episode soon.